If you have ADHD, and I do, then you know it's a struggle to stay on top of housework. Surprisingly, that's one of the reasons why I became a cleaning expert. Stick around, I'll share with you 3 things I use to stay up on top of housework that can help you even if you don't have ADHD. So before we all lose focus, let's jump in. The righting of small wrongs. Now, everyone's ADHD symptoms manifest differently. Some of us have hyperfocus, some of us can't focus on anything at all. One thing we all have in common, though, is that little things can pile up, whether it's because we have time blindness or clutter blindness, or because we're hyper-focused on something else entirely. Little things will pile up and we don't even notice it happening until suddenly it's a mess that's just out of control. So I have on my calendar a repeating appointment that I call the righting of small wrongs. And I find this necessary because when you have ADHD, the tendency is to leave things sitting out so you don't forget about them. And that can lead to leaving a pile of bills on the counter because I don't want to forget to pay them, or library books sitting out on the coffee table because I don't want to forget to return them, or game controllers sitting out because I was in the middle of a game when something came up or I needed to go do something else and I want to get back to my game. If I don't right small wrongs on a regular basis, my home will get out of control. But my mental health needs a clean and organized environment so that I feel safe, and also so it's visually restful so I can be creative. So I know this about myself, and I know I function better when I take the time to right small wrongs, and that's why it's a daily appointment. So I put it on my phone, on my calendar app, and I have it set to repeat daily around the time that I'm done with work but before I start making dinner. And because it's on my phone, it's not just my phone that's making a noise. My watch will make a noise. If I'm still sitting at my desk, my computer browser will pop up with a notification. Alexa will start yelling at me from another room. There's almost no way for me to avoid it. And that is intentional, because if I was going to leave it up to my ADHD brain, I wouldn't remember it. I'd walk past the pile of bills and the clutter would get out of control. So I don't have to rely on my brain to remember it, but I do know that it's just a 15-minute process because I'm doing it on a daily basis. So every day it's a different room. I grab my laundry basket, I go to that room, and I just yeet the things that are out of place into my laundry basket. Let's say it's the bedroom, I will go and I grab everything that doesn't belong in my bedroom and it goes into that laundry basket. And then I take the laundry basket to the kitchen table. This is why I do it. I will dump stuff onto the kitchen table. Now I have to finish it before it's time for dinner. And that way I don't get to let myself off the hook. I just need to stand there separating the piles. And since I'm doing this on a daily basis, the piles are never big. I just separate them. I put away the things that go into another room. If it's something like those library books, I put them in the driver's seat of my car. And yes, that means I have to move them when I get in my car and I want to go somewhere, but that puts them in the forefront of my brain, which is really helpful because the second trick that I'm going to teach you, use your phone to replace your executive function. So those library books that I mentioned, or the returns, or mail that I need to drop off, whatever, my phone, and your phone too, has a location-based alert in the Reminders app. So you can do a geofence or a notification around wherever you need to go on a regular basis. When I'm driving along, my phone will chime to let me know that I'm near the UPS store. And then because I moved the returns that I had to send to Amazon out of my way to go somewhere, I remember, oh yeah, I've got these packages I have to drop off. My phone will chime if I am near the grocery store. And because I use my phone to keep track of my grocery list, I can head into the store and get my shopping done because my phone reminded me, oh hey, you probably have some groceries to get. My phone also reminds me of my cleaning routines so that I follow them. But because I have ADHD, my brain tends to ignore things like routines. It's not really happy with them. And that is why the third point is so important. But first, before we get to that, I want you to go ahead and hit like if you're learning anything new. Thanks. So the third point is to pair routines with rewards. What I mean specifically is that the ADHD brain thrives on novelty. We need it, or we just feel stuck and we'll go start getting self-destructive even. But we also burn through dopamine like a kid burns through his first paycheck. So novelty, it wears off quickly. We need new things. Ooh, shiny. But making ourselves do something that feels like routine can be excruciating. And that's why so many of us have a difficult time following cleaning routines. When we pair doing stuff with a reward that triggers that dopamine, it's a sweet, sweet little combination that can keep us going. So, for instance, when I do my righting of small wrongs and I'm dumping that basket on the dinner table, my reward for putting all that stuff away, I get to sit down and I have dinner. And since it's a different dinner every night, that feels new enough that it keeps my brain engaged. And clearly, I like my dinner. But when it comes to cleaning, I have a long list of things that need to be cleaned and how often, and you can find that in the link in the description. And I set that into my phone into reminders too. So for things that need to be done daily, I get one list that notifies me, hey, do all these things. For things that need to be done weekly, they will pop up on a weekly basis on a different day each time. Things that need to be done monthly, quarterly, seasonally, annually, things like that. They'll pop up at a time that I've already programmed in, and I don't have to remember it anymore. But what I do need still is that reward for having done these things. So once my phone and my browser and my Alexa and my watch all remind me, hey, it's time to clean these things, the one trick is that I actually have to get up and do them. The reward is what motivates me to do that. And for that, I literally use a grab bag of rewards. They're just slips of paper, but they're slips of paper that tell me, different things that I like to do. And yes, that does mean that I have to get tough with myself and not ignore the phone or the Alexa or the watch and get up and do the things if I want to have that grab bag reward. But I also know that my home functions better and I function better as an individual when I follow through on these things. So that's a kind of a reward as well. As far as what I use for rewards to motivate me, let me tell you after you hit that like button. Have you done that yet? I just wanted to remind you in case you forgot, because I know how it is. Okay, so the things that I have on my reward list, they are things that matter to me, that I enjoy doing. Yours may be different. So I will have something like take a long bath. There are taking myself out for a cup of coffee, starting a new book, buying a house plant, or I'll have an actual treat, like chocolate, because I like chocolate too. So yes, these are all things that I could do without having to earn them, but I choose to tie the reward or the fun thing into having completed the stuff that I know I need to do to function well. Then I feel absolutely great having my little rewards, and I may have more than one, but it's always something new, the surprise of reaching into that grab bag and pulling something out that I have no idea what's coming. I just know I'm going to like it. That makes me want to continue doing my routines because, like I said, I have no idea what the reward's going to be, but I know it's one that I'm going to enjoy. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you next week. Until then, stay marvelous. God, I said chocolate like 4 or 5 times. I want some chocolate now. Better go clean something.